Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Lady Nika, and with this week's retro review, Dynasty circa 1981. This is season 1, episode 4, entitled The Dinner Party. And at the beginning of this episode, we see Blake drive over to the rig where Steven now works with Walter and Matthew. He tells them he appreciates the fact that they gave his son a job, teaching him how to be a man. Blake explained that it wasn't easy to come out there because, in fact, it's really no beef between them. He admits that Matthew was one of his best geologists and he let him get away, which was dumb on his part. Then he moves into saying that he and Crystal are having some folks over, and Matthew, his wife, and Walter are invited. Michael gives them the formal invitation. He claims he wants to make amends on how he treated them both on his wedding and says there's some pretty influential folks going to be there. He admitted that he'd love to take them, and bring them into the corporation under the Denver Carrington umbrella. But whether that happens or not, at least they would have met some folks who could do them a world of good. And then he got back in his limo and he left. Crystal was working with a Mr. Beaumont about dresses. She asked about the cost, and he said, "Well, usually to dress you for a season, um, it'll cost between $75 and $100,000." Something he usually discusses with Blake. Now, girl, I said from there, if it takes 75 to 100K a season to dress her, bitch, I'm getting me a rich white man. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm gonna go get me a rich white man. If it's any of you rich white men within the sound of my voice, email me, honey. Yes, indeed. My God, my God. Now you know Crystal is not ready to she ain't ready here. She said it doesn't and the man did hit her with it doesn't include furs. I said so just clothes alone is 75 to 100K plus the fuck girl, you better get right. But she not really feeling that. She is wondering if Blake really wants her doing all of that because she needs to take, she thinking about his financial stats. Fallon come in and tell her little girl that's just fine. He probably left you a note somewhere saying that that's what he wants you to do. So go on and do it. But she says that she's not comfortable doing that. She walks out, says she's going to talk to her husband first. Fallon found her in her room and said that her dad does this all the time. But Crystal admits she's concerned with Blake's current finances. Maybe this is not the best idea to spend this kind of money. Besides, she has a closet full of clothes he bought her already. Fallon said those are the clothes he bought his girlfriend. You his wife now. Crystal said, well, not trying to be rude or nothing, but that really ain't your concern. It's something in her and Blake needs to discuss. Fallon told her, well, she hasn't won everybody over in that house. And if someone offers to help her, she should really just take that help. Then she went to walk off, and Crystal stopped her and said she's listening. Fallon said that she's got a lot to learn about how rich people live in crisis. She said, I'm gonna teach you some, but not all. Cause the reason why I'm willing to do this, cause I wouldn't want to have you embarrass yourself. Fallon feels like if Crystal embarrasses herself, she'll also be embarrassing her dad, and she can't have that. So she's not a fan of Crystal, but she still don't want either looking bad. She went on to say that rich folks move different from poor folks. When times are hard, they actually spend more. It's about appearances. She said you're gonna learn that as you continue to deal in the upper echelon of society. And I'm here to tell you how it goes. She said folks that are coming to that party are powerful, and they gonna critique Blake down from how his servants react to him. Do they respect him? How his wife look? Does it look like he went all out? They gonna be all over everything. And that what they feel or the perception that they give them is going to decide if they're gonna help or turn their backs on him. She said, step one, Have Joseph take your current clothes down to the servants and divide it amongst them. And step two is go see Mr. Beaumont. He's still downstairs waiting for you. Child. She thanked Fallon, and Fallon said, "No need. Don't consider this a gift." So Walter, back at Walter and Matthew's rig, he's saying he going to the party at Blake, and Matthew is against it. Walter, despite how Blake treated him, he feels it's fair, and he's not excusing, the dogs and having staff attacked him. Matt is not convinced. He feels it's something Blake wants. Walter said it took a lot for him to drive out there and admit his wrong. Besides, it's going to be a lot of oil men at that party, rich men. He said by deals, big deals aren't made in a boardroom of Matthew. They made in parlors, much like the one we are invited to at Blake Carrington's place. And if they want to be a part of it, they gotta be in those parlors. Matt said Walt can go, and Walt said he should go as well, unless being around Blake's wife, considering he can't lay hands on her, is too much for him, and left him in there with that food for thought. Later at home, Matt and Claudia talking about it, and she says that maybe Walter is right. She says she thinks it's her, and taking her will be more than she can handle, and she could possibly relapse. He said he just about don't want he just don't want to push her. That's really what he feels. She reminded him of what when he bought that car a week ago. He said to her that he didn't like being married to a mental patient no more than she liked being one, and he was right. She said, "You carried us with no complaint." And taking her is her way to pay him back. And she's going to that party whether he's there or not. And she will not fall apart. I said, "Well, come on then, girl, come on through." Now back at the Carringtons, Crystal's in the kitchen overseeing the food and the flowers. Oh boy had some sort of act right from last week, and he made sure to let her know that he put some flowers in their bedroom, honey, some lovely boutiques. She said, "Good deal, no problem." Joseph, old stuck face ass, comes in there. She tells him the staff has done wonderful preparing the party, and he kind of overlooked her, and she noticed that and asked to speak to him, despite his protest that it was a lot he still had to do before the guests arrived. She apologized for the prior evening and how Blake approached them. He said he spoke with the gardener, and everything should be to her liking now. Let him know if it's not. She asked if it was any way that they could possibly build a friendship. She realized she knew, and it's some resentment. And he told her that would be inappropriate. She asked to see the seating arrangement, and he told her it's already done. Well, that is not what she asked. She wants to see it and reached her hand out for him to hand her that clipboard so she could see it. Now, those of y'all watching this on Amazon Prime, did y'all peep out how the other servants were eavesdropping, baby? They want to see what's going to happen. I said, yes, God. They kept their heads down, but their eyes was wide open. uh, He handed her the clipboard with the seating arrangement, and she requested that some of the seats be changed. Despite his superior attitude, he remembers that she the wife, and Blake made it clear, don't try her. She started telling him some of the people she wanted to be moved around. He tried to rebut, and she asked if he liked his job, and he said yes, and even said that he could find another if necessary. She said, "Really? With a recommendation from me that you were rude, petty, and insubordinate?" Oh, that attitude piped down real good, baby. He piped down real good. He said it would be difficult. So she told him, a member of staff, you know, what it is and how it's going. So she wound up taking the clipboard to another member of the staff, telling him that Joseph will let him know the new seating arrangements, so that he can place the place cards accurate, right? Complimented the staff on their work and told Joseph he was a good worker. I said, come on, girl, good worker. I love that slick shade, baby. And said that she may even speak to her husband about increasing his salary. And dropped his little clipboard and what appeared to be some flour and sashayed away. And all he could do is put his hands on his hip because he know he better keep them lips zipped, okay? Baby Joseph did not like that at all, baby. But he was not finna say nothing. Crystal had to walk down the hall and take a breather a minute. She sat down for a minute to let some air out because that ain't her character. She don't be wanting to come at people like I'm superior over you, but it is what the hell it is. In that house, you are the superior being. You are the mistress of the house. He is a servant of you guys. He's supposed to have some order by himself. Blake came up and presented her with a beautiful necklace and earring set to wear to the dinner party. He said, "Oh, now you're not concerned about the finances or whatnot." He let her know he knew about what she had been saying earlier. She said, "No, it's cool now, and no, the staff is not giving me a hard time." She said, "I understand now. It's a game. It's called $1 million spit in the ocean." He was surprised that she even knew about that. She said, "Oh, a little birdie taught me a thing or two. Uh-huh." She asked if bringing Matthew in, is that would that be in his best interest to bring his oil leases to him? Because she knows that's why Walter and Matthew are invited to this party. He said yes, and she asked if it really was the truth. And he said, "Have I ever lied to you?" I said a strong hell yeah. But she said she don't know and asked him, "Have you?" Because it seemed like she know too. Y'all see that dress she got on? We're gonna talk about that dress, okay? Now let's go down to the dinner. All the elites are there laughing and sharing old stories. The ladies all at chatter with one another. It's just a old wang dang doodle of a time, honey. Elite style, that is. Fallon approaches Matthew, asking about oil business when Jeff interferes to ask her to take a ride. And she said, later, I'm talking to folks, and walked off. Poor Crystal trying to fit in, baby, whether she was comfortable or not. That black one piece strap dress she got on that you seeing on the screen, baby, with those emerald and diamond necklace and earring set Blake gave her, she was. Look at that woman dress, y'all. Look at that dress. Bitch, she worked that dress. That's what I miss about the old TV of yesterday. Those old bras knew how to dress to impress. In 2020, she wouldn't have had nothing on. That's how they do it now. But that was a very classy outfit. I love that dress. I love the necklace and the earpiece. Just so regal and elegant, honey. That's how you look, honey. Okay? Cecil comes over to Blake, who was admiring Crystal from across the room, and says she is lovely. And he apologized that Blake had to cut his honeymoon short because of his little overseas fiasco. Blake tries to play it off as not such a big deal, and Cecil said, "You can tell that to these other folks in here, but me and you, we go back to the Ice Age. And I know you had a fortune tied up in that, our fortune tied up overseas." Blake said, "That's true, but it's only one fortune, just one." Cecil said, "Well, I was about to offer support." Then Blake said, "Well, what's the cost if I had to borrow a little take me over? What would you be wanting in return?" Cecil said half of Walt and Matthew leases once he secures them. Blake said, "I may be in a little trouble, but I will not be robbed at gunpoint by my best friend," and started to walk off, child. Cecil said, "Hold on now. You can't blame me for trying." Blake had to admit there's some shit I would have did too. So he said, "Yeah, I would have probably tried that too." And Cecil says, "What if I required no payback? Sort of a goodwill loan from one prospective in law to another." Blake said, "Do you know something I don't?" Cecil said, "Look here, meet me over at the Petroleum Club Monday to work out the details." He didn't answer that part about the in laws. And I thought about that thing. I said, Jesus Christ, I have catered some parties at the Petroleum Club. Baby, when I tell you those are some elite, them people with so much money, they just ain't never gonna be. If they lived 100 years and they next generation lived 100 years, them people will still be filthy damn rich. That's the kind of money I ain't never know nothing about. And I've always never been envious of that because inside past the beautiful designer brands and the dime mills and the jewels and all of that, and the fancy cars and the big homes and lavish lengthy yachts and whatnot. Baby, them people be miserable. I would rather live the way I'm living comfortably than to be in a position to where I can't find no happiness nowhere I go. See, a shopping spree will do for me. How many shopping sprees can you go on if you feel the rich to get your mind back together if you're having a hard day? So you should always be careful what you wish for, because it's more that comes with that rich, that rich title than many of us are willing to pay. But moving right along. Cecil, okay, they talked about this. Cecil, Crystal came over and asked how things was going, and he said that Cecil just offered him a blank check to bail him out. Now to her, that's a wonderful, but to Blake, he said, something more to that. It's too easy. Now Fallon is frustrated and wanted to go for air, and Cecil stopped her and reminded her of their deal. Fallon then goes back. Lord, let me tell you what had happened. She was about to go out away from that party. Cecil reminded her of their deal that they made last week. So Valen goes over to Jeff, who's at the bar with an eavesdropping as Michael paying as bartender, and he asked if she was ready to go. She said, "If you're gonna take me where I want to go." He said, "Where's that?" She said, "New Orleans." She want to go to Bourbon Street and Preservation Hall, and he said he can take her, you know, but not right now. She said, "We can go on my father's jet." He said, "I gotta work Monday." She said, "Well, go Tuesday." Child, he said that's the kind of thing that interests her. Yet when he mentions uh about him joining the what it called, the minor league or the young league or the junior league, she's turned off. She said to do what you want to do. He said, "When will you get involved?" She said, "I will later, just later." She not interested in talking about it. He wanna talk, he wanna save the world and do it, she says, but she ain't interested in that. Basically, she said, "I was born rich and it's not my problem. It's not my responsibility to heal the world. I'm going to enjoy the fact that I was born rich." He said, "But being born rich comes with responsibility." Not to her. She wants to know if he can do something once that has no social significance, and he want to know, can you do something once that has some social significance? She was irritated to that at that point and was about to walk off until she met eyes with Cecil and decided to stay there and play nice with Jeff. hmm Remember, you told Cecil you'll marry Jeff if he bail your dad out, and he about to bail him out. So, girl, you better play nice, cause what he told you last week, revenge, not living up to your part, revenge to a man at his age is sweeter than sex. hmm Walter was sitting in there meantime talking to some oil men, and they basically trying to make him make some type of commitment to them because he talking about he's sitting on an ocean of oil. They offering him a deal being real coy. We see Fallon done got Jeff to sneak outside to smoke what he called grass, aka that sticky icky, that ooh wee, that sweet pussy baby. Now, all y'all know Jeff is proper, prim and proper. Fallon says he tell Fallon that stuff illegal and you can get caught. You can get in some trouble. We get caught with it. She said, "I got it from a starving seminary art student, so consider it supporting a good cause," and offered him to hit it. Now, child, he went to talking about the scientific studies and what they say about Mary Jane usage. That girl said, mm-mm. And it was right here in this scene when I understood how Eve got to Adam ass down there to that Garden of Eve. She convinced him using her feminine wiles to take a drag of that what he calls grass. Now back inside, Walter then made some sort of handshake agreement, and these two men that he was talking to were still talking about coming, doing more business with him. So he done made a deal with them verbally and through a handshake. Now they got to go to the bar area to grab a drink to seal the deal. Now, Matt was talking to some man when he overhear all of this, but he continues to talk to the guy until Blake comes and takes old boy off to settle an argument between the good old rich boys network they having across the room. That leaves Crystal, who was walking up towards Matt. That leaves them together, and he basically was telling her that the party was, nice party, even though he not so comfortable. He out of his element, but it's nice. She offering to give him a walk around the house, show him around. He said he got to go to work in the morning, but she insists she wanted to show him around and to talk to him about something. So they walk arm in arm on out. Claudia noticed that. She just looking around, feeling a little out of place her damn self, and ends up in Blake's study where Steven is there. She was about to leave, and he told her, you ain't gotta leave, and thank you so much for that sandwich the other day. And he also told her that's the day that I got the job with your husband. She admitted she was just looking for a little escape, and he said that she came to the right place and allows her to chill in there a minute and explained that he understood how she felt. All that money, lies, and scandals in that party area, baby, it can be a lot on anybody. I totally understand. He asked her, are all lunatics really locked up, or are they amongst us posing as politicians, corporate leaders, and psychologists? She said she's neither, so she would know. He asked, yeah, but haven't you been in a mental institution? She admitted to it. Then he realized, damn, that was kind of like cold to ask her that. He apologized, but in fact, she was actually glad that he just said it. Because she tired of people treating her fragile like she gonna fall apart. It's refreshing, she said, to have someone who could speak their opinion so freely. She appreciated it, and she said she tired of folks acting like when she walk in the room she got a disease. They go to whispering and shit, treating her fragile. She says she's not, and he should tell Matthew that at some point. He said that some of the most gifted people have spent some time on the flip side and gave examples. He read her also an excerpt from Emily Dickinson and said some of the most gifted can't acclimate to this society. Emily was one of such. To him, Emily was a very special person, and he said, Claudia, I think you're a very special person too. And he gave her that book. Now, Crystal and Matthew are walking to the terrace area, and she been showing them around. He said that he was real pleased for Crystal. She has a good, happy life. She said that his wife was lovely as well. He said, I figured you would like her. She's a real trooper. She asked if his life would be easier if he wasn't such a wildcatter. He said, well, I'm doing the best I can, but it's like I'm rolling a big stone up a big hill. She said, well, Blake cared for you, and that's why he invited you. He said, yeah. She said he just don't want to see you continue to break your heart over that pile of junk drill drill rig. Now, to me, that was rude because whether or not it's junk in her eyes or not, it's his. And he told her his pile of junk is his business, his name on it. And that is the best feeling in the world. She said, but that doesn't have to change. Just bring the leases into Denver Carrington Corporation umbrella. He said, I heard that before. She said, well, it was a smart person that told you that. Blake is set up to help you develop that property, make you a wealthy man. He asked her, is that what he has you doing now? He asked her, do you realize what you doing is called? He said, she said, no, tell me. He said, I know you married to him and everything, but you trying to sell, and asked her if your next job will be supplying women for the out of town executives that come in. She was offended and said, I wasn't aware you hated me so much. He said, I don't hate you. I love you. Then he realized he said it. She asked him to repeat it. He said, I guess I always will. She said, but when you came back, you said otherwise. He admits, yeah, I did what I felt was best for the both of us. Well, at this point, she pierced. She asked if he was she supposed to be grateful for him for making that decision. Who the hell gave him the right to make that decision for her life? She said she a grown woman and can make her own decisions for herself. It was her decision, and she could live with a small piece of something good, and his to decide what he could live with and what he couldn't. She walked away angry and ran right into his wife, who was standing there just looking. At that point, he wants to grab Walter and leave. Matthew asked if Walt had already was ready to go, and he said he's not. So he asked to speak to him alone. He asked, "How many rig deals have you made?" He said several. He said, "I hope you ain't signed nothing." He said, "No, it's all a handshake." Matt asked if he thought that was a good idea, coming to suck up Carrington liquor and allow these men to get into their pockets. Walter said it takes him further away from everybody. And he said to him, he said, I'm not drunk. I'm far from drunk. I want them to think I'm drunk. But he gonna allow them to think that way so that they'll reveal their hand, and that way he can hit them with an ace. He said that's how the game is played, boy. Matthew said, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't play games." He said, "Well, you better go back to that school of geology and let them examine them rocks in your head, because if you don't play the game and well, those bunch of men in that party area will eat you alive." And he walked off. Matthew then takes it upon himself to walk up to those gentlemen that Walter had made those handshake agreements with, shook their hands, and basically said no deal, and was about to leave when Blake said the game is not played like that. And he asked, how is it done? By cutting off folks' credit and making it hard for them to breathe, or inviting them to your fancy party using your. And he looked at Crystal. Blake said, using my what? He said nothing. He told Blake it was a nice party and thanked him for inviting them, and was walking out. Cecil came up behind Blake and said that he just basically told you to go to hell. That kind of thing could become an epidemic. Blake said, I gave him a chance to stay afloat. Now I'm going to blow them right out of the water. Joseph came up to Crystal during a party and said it's a problem that should be handled by the mistress of the house. Child, Fallon and Jeff done got drunk and high. Well, they done got high and went butt naked in the pool, child. Crystal urges her to get out of the pool before her dad or his guest sees her. That, you got to show some discretion. Fallon got out of there and told her, don't tell me nothing. Don't lecture me about no discretion. And went to repeating what Matthew said about always loving Crystal, letting her know I heard everything y'all had said out there. Baby, she snatched her clothes away from a stunned Crystal and walked off, and that brought us to the end of another exciting episode of season 1 of Dynasty, circa 1981. That was it, y'all. That was all. Get down in the panic section, please, 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 and let me know your thoughts and opinions about this entire episode. Remember, in closing, as always, the depth of your struggle will determine the height of your success. In the meantime, in between time, please remember to rate the video. Ratings get me recognized on the YT streets. Comment down below. Let me know if you remember this episode, or if you're currently watching it with me on Amazon Prime, your thoughts and opinions. Or if you didn't see the show and you just remember some things, or some things you wanted to expound on that I brought up in this review, put it all down there, honey. I'll be down there chatting with you downstairs, okay? In the panic. If you have not subscribed to this, in closing, as always, did I tell y'all that the depth of y'all struggle will determine the height of y'all success, and that you don't have to be great, but you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. Child, I don't know if I said it, but if I didn't, there it is again, okay? Now, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next week for episode 5 of a retro review, Dynasty circa 1981. Thank you guys so much who have been watching these reviews and supporting these reviews. I really appreciate it. It is me, myself. It is myself, Ebby Reviews. I think L Teddy 27 Official, Really Be TV. All of us are doing these retro reviews. We're reaching back in time to a time where things were a little simpler and TV was enjoyable. So thank you guys who support all of us. Thank you guys that support me. And I will see you back here next week. Have a wonderful remainder to your week. I plan on doing the same. Peace.